Hello and welcome to an India Today special broadcast. I'm Gaurav Sawant, joined by Air Marshal Anil Chopra, former director of Center for Air Pass Studies and Ace Mirage 2000 fighter pilot, somebody who's been deployed very extensively along the India-Pakistan border and the line of control, managing the skies, ensuring protection of our skies in the north and, of course, the west. Sir, welcome on India Today. It's a big day. The fact that India was able to not just destroy 9 bases of terror in Pakistan, including the headquarters of Lashkar-e-Taiba in Murid, and at least 13 Pakistan air bases and radar stations. What would this have meant for General Asim Munir? Is this in a way the biggest Indian response to Pakistan state-sponsored terror?
Thank you, Gaurav, for getting me on your channel, and always a pleasure. Yes, I must start by saying that the trigger for all the events that have taken place in the last few days is the speech that General Munir made, to the Pakistani diaspora, which was here in Pakistan, and what venomous, language he used about the two-nation theory and how that they and India and the Hindus, they can't live together. They are two clear separate nations, and indirectly trying to imply that they were superior and they can, and to sort of be mean and belittle India, if I may use that. Now, that's a terrible language he used. It anger every Indian, down the line, and thereafter he managed, stage managed. So the army, under his directions, did what they did. For the first time that in Pahalgam, they had to identify the religion before they shot innocent people. And what a shameful act it was, deplored by the entire world. So I must say that, we have seen people earlier, generals, you all know that, in how India was got the partition. Jinnah, till about 10, 15 years before the partition, was a nationalist who wanted India to grow, to become an independent large country. But in the last 10, 12 years, he switched sides.
What would this attack have done to General Asim Munir's psyche? Because if he thought terror was a low-cost option, in your appreciation, the fact that 13 of his air bases and radar stations have been targeted, the fact that he may have lost aircraft, including perhaps one C-130 Hercules, perhaps one airborne early warning command and control center, and the reputation of the Pakistan Army and Air Force, what does this mean for Asim Munir?
Yeah, Asim Munir has got just a month left for retirement. We all know that the Pakistani government right now is, it's there because of the tacit clearance from the army. They put Imran Khan inside, and with this background, Munir was desperate. He wanted to show, that the Pakistan army is well in control, and he wanted to, send a signal that he is in command of affairs. But the fact that the Pakistan army, directly him, has been hit hard, his state-sponsored terrorists. The fact that the Pakistan army was in large numbers at the funeral in, Bhavalpur, it indicates the kind of support that the Pakistan army is giving to the terrorist groups. And thereafter, such a large number of military targets, I think, we have one man who has been hit hardest in this whole exercise is General Munir.
Is Asim Munir's reputation in tatters? Because many say, India Today had a cover story calling him the jihadi general. We all know his radical Islamist mindset. But even in the eyes of Pakistanis and overseas Pakistanis and the world in general, would he have lost face and prestige? The fact that 9 terror targets successfully acquired by India, including Murid and Bahawalpur. India has hit mainland Pakistan, or proper Pakistan as Pakistanis put it, multiple air bases from Skardu in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir to Maler cantonment in Sindh and Bulari in Sindh, and they could do nothing about it. And the fact that they came virtually desperately seeking a ceasefire, is it loss of face? And if it's loss of face, will he try and target India again? Just to redeem his honor.
Gaurav, you have seen many videos which are surfacing from Pakistan. You know, the public, they're making laughing at the things that have happened to Pakistan. They're talking about Munir himself. And that is the kind of loss of faith he has within the country. After all, you know, what did he achieve in this whole exercise? He has actually shamed himself, shamed the army, shamed the country, sort of a way of disgrace, if I may use. And under these circumstances, I have my doubts that he will be able to retain, get an extension, unless the current Prime Minister Shabir is so weak that he has no choice. The popularity of Imran Khan continues to be significant. So therefore, I have a feeling the man who has been hit the hardest, nobody knows the names of the corps commanders right now. The only face of this whole event has been General Munir, and I think General Munir's reputation is stake, and I think the whole world has watched his speech, and I don't think the world is going to let him get another extension. I don't even know what place will he go to hide after this, though his family is already moved to London.
That's a very important point you're making. He's a disgrace. He's disgraced the Pakistan army, and which brings me to my next question. Somebody who's in disgrace just to redeem his honor, and considering he's a radical Islamist, could he use terrorists to strike India soon? Could he use his army or his air force to strike India? Or the manner in which India has struck 15 air bases, radar stations, and 9 terrorist camps, he's now realized if 22, 23 targets can be hit in Pakistan and they can do nothing about it with the Chinese equipment, their honky HQ 9Ps and the HQ 16s air defense shields, they could do nothing. Have they realized that India is far superior, contrary to what some of the commentary and vested interests may want to portray it as?
Yeah, let me tell you, first thing I feel that if at all Pakistan will react, will be again against, create another terror incident. Mind you, Indian military is on hot standby. They are there. They are where they were before the ceasefire was called off. And in fact, if at all, they are stronger than they are. So second, Pakistan military is designed for defensive. They know from the beginning that, India can run over us, but we cannot go deep. Their air force assets, their army, their assets are all for defense of Pakistan and not, take on an offensive. So therefore, I feel that they will not try to take military targets. Unlike us, we have large strike assets. Their inventory is mainly for air defense. So I don't think they will take on military targets, because then the suffering for them will be much worse. So certainly they will try, because this is low-cost option. They might try to create another trigger action, but they know now that if they do another incident, the next round will be even heavier, stronger, larger punishment to them. Yes.
But there are lessons for us in this conflict. The fact that the Chinese made missiles, and especially their long range air to air missiles, the PL-15s, on board their JF-17 Thunders and the J-10Cs, are they a cause for concern, especially amidst information that some of them may have been remotely handled, sir?
Yeah, Steve, let me tell you about PL-15. PL-15 has an export version. Initially, the information with us is that they have the PL-15E, which has got a range of 145 kilometers. And then there is the original PL-15, which is supposed to have a range of 180 kilometers. Let me clarify, when they give out ranges in public domain, they're also to sell that weapon. And these are the ideal conditions. You know what the range of a PL-14 will be at, 15 will be at 50,000 feet, at maybe Mach 1 when the fighter is flying. Maybe it will be the figures that are given out. But will that same range be when you're flying at much lower levels, at a slow speed, at a slower Mach number? Ranges will be less. These are, physics facts which we all know. So therefore, yes, but we all must go for our planning as if it's good. But even at 180, Meteor has also got 180. Astra 2 is also at 175 kilometers. Astra 3 will be 375. So first thing is to, yes, PL-15, we must, all our tactics and their tactics are designed for this. You have to keep your aeroplanes away from the ranges of some of the weapons that are there, whether they are ground-based or whether they are airborne. So that part is always catered for. But the question that you're now asking is, can the missile would have been fired in a cooperative mode where the fusion of different sensors could have taken place? Yes, there are already media reports, some analysts who are getting into this physics part of it, to say that the missile, first the target is being tracked from satellite or from AWACS or from some ground radar, and thereafter the missile is fired, let's say, from an airborne platform, and the missile in its, the airborne platform itself is not keeping its radar on. The missile is going, and in the travel, she is being updated information through data links from different sources, and only in the terminal part of the stage, when she's very close to the target, she puts her own radar on and thereafter locks on and then shoots. With the result, there is not enough time for defensive tactics by the defending aircraft. So this kind of way is standard. It's known world over. It's been followed. The Russians use the same system. So do the Americans. We have the same capability. So the question is, all the time there will be this race. Sometimes we are, when we bought the Mirage 2000 530D was better than their equivalent missiles, and then they got a better missile, then we got the Meteor. So now they're getting the PL-15. We do not know the actual version that the Chinese have given them. So this kind of an exercise, moment we'll have Astra 3, we would have had a big jump. Or if we buy R-37M from Russia, for example, the whole scenario will be different. Yes.
For a moment, I want to understand this better, and who better than you, as somebody who's been in Center for Air Power Studies, to explain this to our viewers. Are we to understand that the JF-17 Thunder is a Chinese origin fighter jet made in Pakistan? Are we to understand that a PL-15 fired off a JF-17 Thunder or a J-10C, again Chinese origin, Pakistani plane, Chinese plane, handled from ground or elsewhere by Chinese operators, even though the plane is being flown by Pakistanis, remotely handled, and that is why the radar of the missile doesn't come on till? Can you explain that to us, sir?
No. See, first thing I must tell you that 85% of Pakistani military equipment is from China. Second is, a large amount of equipment has come in 4-5 years. And in these 4-5 years, and normally when foreign equipment you buy, they're specialists, they're technicians, they're operational people, they are with you to help you, support you, set up initial maintenance, get the teething trouble sorted out. So large number of Chinese are right now sitting with Pakistan, whether for the industry, whether for the Air Force. So therefore, one. Second, Pakistan doesn't have the satellites of own. Great amount of support China is giving for ISR and command and control issues from their satellites. So these are two known facts. Now, how many of these operators sitting with the Pakistan Air Force are physically sitting in the command and control room? Like we know that in Ukraine, the NATO, they had 100+ operators sitting in the command and control center, helping them with all kinds of information about targets. So physically, the targets were being engaged by the Ukrainians. Now, this kind of an exercise, highly possible that would be happening. And if they have to do this kind of a cooperative exercise where, they have to use the satellite, or we have to have data links between the Chinese equipment and the other equipment like the AEWC, there could be that Chinese are doing. What extent they are doing, I think time will tell us. Yes.
What is extremely interesting, and this would then indicate, sir, that India, the way Russia was fighting NATO forces through Ukraine, India is fighting or countering China through Pakistan. And we've come out on top, despite all the cooperation that Pakistan gets in terms of 80 to 85% of its equipment being Chinese, satellite ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, courtesy the Chinese, no dedicated Pakistani satellites, as you rightly pointed out, sir. All of this would indicate equipment Chinese, perhaps some operators Chinese, intelligence Chinese, reconnaissance, surveillance Chinese, all of this would indicate India is practically fighting China and came out on top. So this is where the Chinese should be very worried.
For long, the armed forces and including the political establishment said in parliament that, we have to be ready for a two-front war or two-and-a-half-front war. But here has been a single-front war with two operators. So there
Yes.
is a new term you can now say that China is conscious that a skirmish like this, they would not like to come in full-fledged or create another front. Mind you, we are fighting the forces which are already designated to be on the Western Front today. We have not
Mm.
moved a single equipment which is meant for some other front. They are sitting put over there. So therefore, that has to be very clear. But we have to understand that this is the kind of support China will give any contingency, and that will be they will get full satellite ISR support. They will get equipment support. They will give technical support. They will give operational support by physically sitting with them in their ops rooms and giving them guidance. And that itself is phenomenal. It's been a short war. Effectively, there are 2 days of real solid engagements, or 3 days of solid engagements. So
So
therefore, this
seventh when
kind
we
of
hit seventh when we hit the terror camps, eighth and ninth when they tried to misbehave and we took out some of their radars, and 10th where we gave it off to them. And 10th is
correct.
where, why do you think after 10th, those 23 minutes, just 23 minutes, 13 bases, why do you think Pakistan, and if I may, this is my terminology, this is not what government is saying, virtually on a bent knee, Pakistan was looking for a ceasefire. Their DGMO was desperately trying to work the hotline to seek a ceasefire. The hotlines were already on, I believe. Even on the 7th, when India targeted 9 bases, own DGMO told his counterpart the other side that we bombed 9 of your bases. We don't want to escalate. We advise you not to escalate. If you don't escalate, things are okay. But the fact that on 10th, they desperately came back, said ceasefire. Why do you think that happened, sir?
Yeah, see, one must understand that the strike that was done on the military targets was out of the ordinary. On a single day to hit such a large number, you covered the entire length and breadth of the width of the country, deep right up to Sargodha. Every major, Rafiki, Noor Khan, all these are big bases. Certainly, Sargodha, Rafiki are very, very important military bases, Balori, and many other places that you went to, and the radars. They did not anticipate the kind of military strike India would make. And I think it was a great decision to tell them that there is not a place in your country that we can't reach. So this was just a demonstration, and that much more worse can come for you. I must tell you that the kind of offensive inventories, offensive weapon inventories that India has is phenomenal. Many, many tens of times, maybe more than offensive inventories than Pakistan. So therefore, they're conscious. And they did not expect it. Moment it hit, they knew that worse can come. They were already under multiple pressures. And they also knew there are many, many more terror targets that can be hit. And therefore, they had to reach a point where they had to request, the DGMO had to request our Indian DGMO, okay, enough. Okay, we have been sort of, let's stop it. So in short, did they bend on their knees? जैसे Prime Minister ने कहा भूख ला गए. Well, perhaps that is the obvious reason why they have, as a military man, I don't normally use such a word, but then that's the way it actually happened. They collapsed.
Sir, you mentioned the Prime Minister, and for a moment, I want to now draw you to those images of briefings and meetings, not briefings for us, but when Prime Minister was being briefed and the debrief that happened, we could see the Prime Minister, we could see Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh, we could see NSA Ajit Doval, the three services chiefs, the CDS, the intelligence chiefs. Would the Prime Minister be briefed about every target India wanted to hit, whether the terror camps or the military bases, and would he have signed off on every hit? Is he, I want to understand from you, does the Prime Minister personally clear these things in your appreciation, sir?
Yeah, I will tell you, I have never seen a hands-on Prime Minister of the kind that Prime Minister Modi is. Second, we haven't had for years a decisive Prime Minister who was so very clear that within 12 hours of Pahalgam, he had already made up his mind and said what he wanted to do. Next, Every day from that day till now, he was meeting the service chiefs collectively, separately, the entire, security establishment, NSA, NTR, you name it. Everybody he was meeting. He had asked them what are, even he asked them what name would you like to give to this operation. All kinds of names were thrown up. But the name he had already in his mind, it was he who decided it will be Sindoor. And I'm so proud as an Indian, there couldn't have been a better name. So Prime Minister was hands-on. He didn't get into the technical appreciations. He got into the macro issues. He said, shoulder is mine. I'm the leader. Success is yours. But if there's anything happens, I am responsible and I will take it. Look at the way Prime Minister went to Adampur, how he chose. Yeah. It was he who decided early in the morning, I believe at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and said, I will go to Adampur. Why did he go to Adampur? A base which is very close, to Pakistan, and they have got missiles. They could have launched a couple of them. The Prime Minister of India is how confident he is about the Indian military's strength, and he goes and stands in front of the S-400, the one which allegedly Pakistan said that they have neutralized. So he sent many messages that I'm so confident about the country, and he wanted to hug the people there to tell them, I am with you guys, and I'm part of you. So I think it was absolutely outstanding, and Prime Minister did not get into smaller nitty-gritty. Any prime minister should not. But buck stops at him, and he gave clearances. He decided, okay, we will hit military targets. You all decide which are important military targets. The military must decide with NSA or others. You all can sort it out. But let's go ahead. And that is the resolve with which I think the security establishment worked. I really enjoyed as an analyst sitting outside.
Oh, as with hill gaya hoga Pakistan. The fact that from Skardu in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir to Bhulari and Malirkant in Sindh and across the length and breadth of Pakistan, as you rightly pointed out, 200 kilometers deep up to Sargodha, Pakistan has been hit. Sir, the significance of air bases hit, whether it's Noor Khan or Chaklala or Sargodha. What does this mean for Pakistan? Rafiki, Jacobabad used to be a NATO base, latest F-16 fighter jets there, Rahim Yar Khan. मतलब ये तो पाकिस्तान के सीने में एक नहीं, एक के बाद एक के बाद एक के बाद एक, वार पर वार पर वार पर वार. I mean, this would leave Pakistan shaken and stirred.
The recent conflicts, whether it's in the West Asia between Israel and the neighborhood, and whether it's in Russia, one thing is very clear. The bulk of the battle will have to be waged from air. I'm using not the name Air Force, but air. Because Absolutely. The Navy has air elements, the Army has got its, aerial weapons, etc. So it has to be waged. So the heavy lifting this time again, like after Balakot, had to be done by Indian Air Force. So what is required? We have to think ahead. We have to look at our inventories. We have to look at what lessons we learned from this exercise, what all types of weapons we need, what type of platforms, how many, we are short of fighter squadrons. How long more will you continue to be short of fighter squadrons? Do we require more air refuelers? Of course, we require. For the last 20 years, there is a case to build up, get more air refuelers. But where are they? We need to hasten them. Flight, AEWC aircraft, we have got just 6 of them. Pakistan has got 8, 9 of them, though our AEWCs may be more powerful because the Falcon on IL-76 has got a longer range. But the point I'm making is that now again, see, the second point, Gaurav, I want to make is, it is very clear that war will always happen by trigger. We have seen Uri, we have seen Balakot, we have now seen, and therefore what matters is your capability today. You cannot be saying 5 years now, I will have this, 10 years now. What you have today is what you have to use, and therefore you have to have an asymmetric advantage against your adversary today. And for that, you must all the time be working on, whether it's the quality of air-to-air missile, whether it's quantum of drones that you want to have, or kamikaze drones, loiter munition, whatever you want to have. Your inventories have to be catered for war today. And as we said, Absolutely. Today we are on a hot standby, and any day a fresh trigger can take place, and therefore that's the approach we'll have to take. Yeah.
Clearly, we need more Su-30 MKIs with their air-launched BrahMos 3, the Mark 3 missiles. I mean, BrahMos is the Brahmastra, and there's a line which we used on air that with a terror state like Pakistan, it's as long as they spread terror in our country, it's no longer Aman ki Asha, but BrahMos ki Bhasha. That is something that Pakistan will understand. Is BrahMos ki Bhasha.
Yeah. But I must tell you, from whatever inputs are available in the open domain, and otherwise we all know, it was a very good decision. Some joint ventures have done us very good. BrahMos is one. And of course, some of the joint ventures we have with the Israelis on radars, air defense systems, MRSAM, LRSAM, they are phenomenally good. I think this has been a good approach. We have been recommended such an approach on some other platform, maybe some aircraft which we'll make jointly, maybe some more areas, maybe aero engine one day we make joint. See, the joint ventures has worked beautifully.
We have to make our own engine.
Yeah, we must have ultimately more and more things of our own is possible. And that's why the three services have got a huge inventory of BrahMos, which is a good, solid, world-class missile. The whole world knows about it. And the foreigners wanting to buy it. Yeah, the foreigners wanting to buy it, and they're queuing to get the BrahMos. So I think we have learned a lot. We are learning on the job, and more will flow. I'm sure the people on the hot seats, they know much more than you and I. They are doing the needful, and we are really proud of the armed forces. Really proud, yeah.
And such a treat speaking to you and learning so much, right from the time when you were in service till date through your caps. There's so much I have learned and benefited. Thank you very much, Air Marshal Chopra, for joining me here on this India Today special broadcast. Indeed, it's heartening to hear the manner in which India was able to punish Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror, because we've been bleeding for decades. Like I say, 1993 Mumbai blast, 257 killed. 2006 train blast, 200 killed. Mumbai 26/11, 166 killed. Pakistan was just getting those numbers up. Finally, after Uri, Balakot, now it's this Operation Sindoor that has restored not just that sign that we are such a strong nation, but also retribution to the radical Islamist terror state and its army. Sir, many thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Gaurav. Always a pleasure. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, sir. That is all I have for you on this India Today special broadcast. Many thanks for watching. News and updates continue on India Today. Stay with us.